Hey everyone, I'm your astrologer Brittany of Ethereal Astrology, taking you to new heights with inspired perspectives that transcend the details. Today, you're watching your astrology horoscope for the new moon in Aquarius, which occurs on Friday, February 9th, 2024 at 5:59 p.m. Eastern Time or 2:59 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, what I think is going on here at this new moon in Aquarius is that we are feeling more free from old habits and patterns that were unhelpful, in which we were being too stiff, too rigid, too hard on ourselves, and too focused on the wrong things. Which is very good. But even though we're feeling more free from those old habits and behaviors, we're still feeling like maybe we need to break free from a few more things here. And like we're still a bit unsure and uncertain of what it is that we want to do next after this point, which is leaving us feeling a little stuck and confused here that we might need to work through. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. If you want to hear more about that, please stay tuned because I'm going to hop into it right now. In order to get started though, what I'm going to do first is to place on the chart what it is that I'm referring to so that you can see it and follow along with me. So let me do that now. This video is for the new moon in Aquarius. As a result, I have adjusted this chart accordingly for the event of the new moon. I know that because I've got the moon and the sun here at the exact same degree and the exact same sign here, which is Aquarius. And when the moon are together like this, that is what is considered a new moon. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. What is this now all about? Well, new moons are all about new beginnings, new energy here, and fresh starts. And it's in Aquarius here, and Aquarius is a lot about breaking free from things that perhaps have been holding us back prior to this point. Not only is it about us breaking free from things that have been holding us back, it's also as well about us feeling more liberated, obviously after breaking free, to be our authentic self here as well. Not only is Aquarius about that, but also too, it's a lot about unique approaches to life, innovative approaches to life, or revolutionary approaches to life, and formulating those and what those might be after this point. It's also too as well about seeing a different vision for our future here and what that might be, and opening up to different perhaps ideas here about our lives and how that could, I think, play out here at this time that's going on. So I think that's what I want to say so far, is that this, to now bring it together, is that this new moon in Aquarius is about us getting new energy or a new approach here to break free from old things that have been keeping us stuck, be our authentic self, and formulate unique, innovative, revolutionary approaches after this point that are going to be better for our future here and our goals and dreams, and for what we might want to create next after this point. You know, before I move forward, to give you more detail surrounding this new moon in Aquarius, this time particular, and what it means, I do like to go backwards in time for a minute here before I go forwards. And I do like to go backward in time to give you more of the context of the other astrological alignments that came before this, because I think that's super important and relevant and can change the interpretation a lot. Okay, now if you're not interested in hearing the backstory here because it can get long, you can obviously skip this section. That's totally fine. I've got the timestamps here on this video in order for you to do so. Okay, but if you want to hang in there with me, I'm going to go ahead back now to give you the context. I also want to note, I'm going to give you, I think I'm going to start to abbreviate the context since it's gotten kind of long, and shorten it down a bit as well. So this will be shorter than others, than otherwise it's been. But I'm going to hop in now. What I like to start with, that's still the same. Our starting point is going to be an alignment that happened early January to April of 2020. Here, what happened around that time is we had Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter all come conjunct here in the middle to late degrees of the sign of Capricorn. Okay, this is a rare and difficult alignment. Rare because Saturn and Pluto only come conjunct every 35 years and not always with Jupiter there. And difficult because Saturn and Pluto are outer planets known to be more challenging here. And Jupiter was in Capricorn, a sign it doesn't like to be in, so it really wasn't helping us much there either. Okay, what is the difficulty that was happening then? Well, Pluto is a lot about change and transformation being needed in our lives. And in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, the structure of our life, something very fundamental about it that was needed because we didn't like where our life was going and maybe had been going for many years prior to that. Here, that was needed, and Jupiter will exacerbate that. So we realized January to April 2020, something not right in my life. Hasn't been for quite a few years. I don't like it. I need to make big change here now in order to overcome it, which was very hard. Okay, that's going to lead me now to the next alignment that I'm going to mention, which was about a year later. No, not a year later. I think it was 2 years. 2 years later here, April of 2022. Okay. In April of 2022, we then had a new moon solar eclipse over here in the sign of Taurus. Okay, this to me was meant to be a helpful thing because it was a new moon. It was on an eclipse, and it was on the north node here, which I tend to really like. What was the good thing? New moons are about new beginnings. Solar eclipses superpower that in Taurus. It's about fertility. It's about abundance. It's about sustaining something new and different here, and that being more able to grow. So about 2 years later, in April 2022, we feel like we had ended enough stuff that wasn't working for us and changed our life enough that we were now in a better, more fertile place, abundant place from which we could grow and create something different after that point. And that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, which happened just 2 weeks after that new moon solar eclipse in Taurus on the north node, also in April of 2022. And that was going to be that full moon lunar eclipse that accompanied that solar eclipse here in the opposite sign of Scorpio on the south node. Now, that was a bit of a challenge here because it was an eclipse on the south node, which is more difficult here. What is more difficult? Well, the south node is hard because it indicates habits and tendencies that we do more easily and feel more natural and comfortable in, but that are no longer useful to us anymore, at least not at this time. Here that we need to get rid of, especially with a lunar eclipse, full moon being about endings as well. Here. What were those habits and traits that maybe we had become comfortable with that are no longer useful to us, that we needed to do the hard process of getting rid of? Well, those were Scorpio traits because that's where the south node was at that time. And I'm going to interpret Scorpio in a negative way because, again, it's the south node, which is a challenge. And the habits and traits we had that weren't helping us that we needed to get rid of. One of the Scorpio traits is too much change. We'd been so used to changing since 2020 that we were stuck and more change needed, and it's not anymore. We'd already done enough that we needed to get rid of. Not only do we need to stop changing things, but Scorpio as well can have a lot to do with emotions, especially negative emotions from the past that we were indulging too much, especially because our lives hadn't been that great, that we needed to stop indulging the negativity because we're moving on. Not only that, but Scorpio too can be about relationships and being too intertwined or codependent with relationships that also are not aligned with ourselves and who we truly are. We needed to get away from those people because, again, moving into different, better times. Not only that, but Scorpio too can be about money and losing money, spending too much money. We needed to stop doing that and really save our resources here so that we can move forward. So that's what happened also in April 2022. It changed enough, ended enough old things in a better experience of life, but now have some habits that aren't helpful here. And we need to stop making changes because we made enough. We need to stop indulging these negative emotions because we're moving on into better times. And we need to stop associating with negative people who aren't working with us and spending money so that we can also move forward. I think that was meant to be a helpful thing at that time. But again, it was hard. It's hard to stop doing things that you're used to doing. And so I think it actually took us a very long time to get that in order. I think it really wasn't until April of last year, 2023, right? That was 2023, April of last year, 2023, when we finally started to really get that handled and taken care of and to stop with the relationships and the money and the negative emotions and the change. And that was because another significant thing happened in April of 2023, and that was that we had another new moon solar eclipse, and it was in the sign of Aries. New moons are about new beginnings. Solar eclipse is superpower. That Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, it's about moving forward yet again into more of a new beginning, more of a new chapter, more of a new experience. So In April 2023, we tried to move forward again with what we tried to do the previous April into a new and better experience. And I think that's meant to be a good thing. But even though that was a good thing, we ran into another difficulty again last year. And I believe it was around May to June of last year, roughly here, June of 2023. And what happened around May to June, roughly around that time, is then Venus went retrograde here in the sign of Leo. And that was a difficult thing here because it's a planet going retrograde, which means still not ready yet to move forward in the way that we might like. And it's a personal planet, which can hit a little more close to home here. So we ran into another difficulty moving forward in a new experience. What was that difficulty here? Well, Venus is in Leo. Leo is a lot about happiness and fun and our heart and our passion and honoring more of that. What's fun, what's happy, what we enjoy, what we feel connected to and passionate about. There's a part of us that still had not been open to doing that. And I think still had not been open to doing that because with Pluto, which was in Capricorn, and for the past 15 years and was at the last degree last year, we had been stuck in emergency mode. We'd been stuck in being too strict, too rigid, too stiff, too Capricorn. Here, that was the problem, that we weren't allowing ourselves to enjoy life that we really needed to do more of. So that was June 2023. I'm trying to move again into a new experience now with a better perspective, but afraid to honor my emotions, stuck in emergency mode, strict, stiff, not having fun in life, and ignoring that part of ourself. That was hard. Okay, because that was hard. Here we then, I think it was about a month later, July of 2023, had another significant alignment. Pluto was at the last degrees of Capricorn, making a square to the nodal axis, which included the south node in Libra and the north node in Aries here. And when planets square the nodal axis, it indicates things that we're not doing that we need to do more of and need to make a big choice to do, especially when Pluto's involved. Here, a big choice to change the trajectory of our lives here, with Pluto being the planet of change. So I think what happened in July of 2023 is that we realized we needed to make a massive change here, choose to make a massive change. It was a hard choice here in order to stop being stuck in emergency mode and to stop being too strict and rigid and to start having fun and honoring our emotions more and doing what it is that we loved at that time, and to allow ourselves to honor our emotions more, which I believe that we did. Okay. In various ways, shape, or form throughout the end of last year, which now leads me to last month. We had the new moon in Capricorn around that same spot that the Pluto squared the nodes here in January of 2024. And I think what happened at that new moon in Capricorn a month ago is that we then started to bring these approaches together, where we had been honoring our emotions long enough that we felt like we could marry that now back with discipline and responsibility and structure in a healthier way, so that we're not too extreme with the structure and all of that and ignoring our emotions, but so that we are more balanced here and started to really achieve that. And because we now started to do life structured but more in balance with happiness, joy, pleasure and emotion, now this lunar month, this new moon in Aquarius, of which this video is for, we're feeling more free from these challenges that we've had in the past that have stopped us from moving forward. Here, not only are we feeling more free, but we're feeling more able, I think, to move forward again into a new experience of life and to formulate what that is that's unique and different than what we've done in the past, and to consider new ideas, goals, and dreams for our life after this point. Okay, and so that's it. That's what I'm going to say now about the context here of this time period. Let me to repeat that before I move on. The context for this time period is that basically what we've done over the course of the past few years or so, or months, is that we have stopped being too, we have balanced an experience of life in which we've been too stiff, too rigid, and too hard on ourselves with more passion, fun, compassion, joy, and playfulness, which has been very helpful, making us feel liberated from past struggles and more able to move forward in a different experience here in a unique and revolutionary way, different possibilities, considering what's next. Okay. And that's it. Because that's all I'm going to say there, I'm now going to zoom back into this new moon in Aquarius itself to give you more specific details about it and how it's going to play out. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And to do that, I'm just going to place it on the chart here really quickly. New moon in Aquarius, again, for me, this is where we're at. Okay, which is about us feeling more free, right, from old things that have brought us down, and more able, especially, you know, an old approach where we've been too strict, too rigid, etc., and more able to come up with unique and innovative approaches in life. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of the specific alignments that the new moon is making or that is happening around the new moon here at this time. Okay. The first one that I want to look at is going to be the fact that this new moon in Aquarius is making a square over here to Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So let's talk about that. Now this in some ways is a challenging alignment here. This is a little bit of a challenging alignment because it is a square here, which is technically a difficult aspect, especially to Uranus, which is an outer planet, and the outer planets are just sometimes harder for us here on Earth to understand because Uranus is in Taurus, a sign that it does not really like to be in. So this can be a bit difficult here. What is the difficulty with this? I'll give you a few different interpretations here. Uranus and Aquarius, they're correlated to each other, can indicate in some ways, especially by hard aspect, still feeling a little stuck, still not feeling free enough, so to speak, from old things here in the way that it is that we might like. Hey, so one of the interpretations here with this alignment is that we are breaking free from old habits and patterns in which we've been too strict, if you listen to the context, too rigid, too hard on ourselves, and we're balancing that with emotion and passion. Okay, but we still feel like we're not free enough from this strict, rigid approach here, that we're still stuck in that in some way, shape, or form here that hasn't fully been broken free from. Okay, and not only can it indicate that here as well, but it can also indicate too still uncertainty, right? Uncertainty about what the unique and revolutionary approaches are that we want to do next, right? Because Uranus and Aquarius is about what's next. And a square is a hard aspect. So this can indicate us also not only still feeling stuck a little bit, maybe a little bit in some things from the past, but still also not sure what the new approach is, you know, what more this new way of life that's more balanced is, you know, between work and emotion. Still not quite sure what exactly that is that the future holds, that we want that to be here as well. That's going on. Not only can it create a little bit of both, weirdly, but it can also create too a lot of anxiety. The Aquarius will do that. Anxiety, nervousness, and impatience here with that, because when we don't feel free, right, and we still feel stuck, we can get anxious and nervous. Why am I still stuck? And we don't know what's next. We can get impatient. Why don't I know what I'm supposed to be doing next and how this is supposed to play out and where I'm supposed to be going? You know, so it can create some impatience there, maybe even some frustration, I might say, as well, could exist here too. That could be a little bit of a challenge here with ourselves and others. Not only can it create that, but Uranus can also create unexpected events. And so too can Aquarius, where the new moon is, some sort of unexpected event that we may do because we're feeling stuck in these old things, you know, or because we want to formulate something new and we don't know what it is. It can create that, or it can create an unexpected event that happens to us here, perhaps as a result of someone else being impatient, or to force us to get on a different path here. That's happening at this time here too. And not only that, but another thing I need to note is that Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is a lot about confidence. Remember, this is a hard aspect. So this can also make us just feel insecure or in a tenuous place here at this time. That's going on. Maybe even worried about money a little bit, because Taurus is the sign of money here too, which can occur. So to bring this together here, before I add more aspects on it, that at this new moon in Aquarius, okay, we are feeling more free from an old approach to life in which we've been too strict, too rigid, too hard on ourselves. Here, that's going on, and more able to pursue a unique approach to life that I think is honoring more our emotions and our happiness and joy, and more in balance with that. But even though we're feeling more free from this old stuff and more able to kind of formulate what's next, there's still an issue here. And there's an issue because maybe there's still some more little things from the past we don't feel free from, and also because we don't really know exactly what's next and what this future approach looks like, which is putting us in somewhat of a good position, but also feeling very uneasy about the whole thing, and anxious and nervous and uncertain and frustrated and maybe just like insecure about what's going on, and want to do things suddenly and unexpectedly here in order to fix some of this here, or have unexpected things happen to us that could also feel challenging. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention here, which is going to be where Mercury is in Aquarius, making a square over here to Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. Okay, now there are some things that I like about this alignment, because I do tend to like Jupiter even by hard aspect, but it's still not the best alignment. So what's going on here? Well, Mercury is about our mindset and our perspective and the way that we think about things in our situation here. And Aquarius, where it is, can make us more open to unique approaches or different approaches and ways of doing things here. And so too can Jupiter. You know, Jupiter is also a planet of new things and of wisdom and understanding and of different approaches to life that are going to be more secure with it in Taurus and better for us. So this can indicate us trying to get new ideas about what we want to do next in our life if we continue on this path where we're honoring more of our emotions and our passion here. But even though this can bring more ideas and more information and a different mindset here that's going on, I need to note that out of all the planets, I think when it comes to Jupiter, I think sometimes Mercury and Jupiter are the hardest pair here. And I think sometimes Mercury and Jupiter are a hard pair because they don't really see eye to eye. You know, Mercury likes things clear. It likes finite answers that are more tangible, since it does correlate to Gemini and Virgo. I mean, Virgo likes things very realistic and tangible and workable. And Jupiter correlates to Sagittarius and Pisces. It's big, it's abstract, ideas, philosophies, you know, of what could be out there. So even though this is us maybe starting to get some new ideas or philosophies or understandings about life and who we're becoming and how we can live it, that's honoring more of our passions and more of our emotion here, I still think that these ideas still feel unclear or abstract or too big here in some kind of way, or we don't know which one to really pick and to hone in on here in some kind of way, and that feel too foreign to us. That can be hard, still creating uncertainty, and maybe I'll even say confusion with the hard aspect to Mercury here. Some kind of confusion about what's going on, especially consciously, even though subconsciously, sometimes Jupiter can be about the subconscious. Things are starting to come together. So I think that that's what I want to say there, right? To continue with the interpretation, we're breaking free from old habits and patterns, and have in a lot of ways broken free from old habits and patterns in which we've been too strict, too rigid, and too hard on ourselves. Okay? And we're becoming more open now to formulating a different approach to life that's more unique, more revolutionary, and I think more in tune with our authentic self and our passion and our emotions and all of that, which is good. But even though that's the case, there's still a little part of us that still feels stuck in these old strict habits and patterns that we still feel a little tethered to, that haven't fully been broken. And not only do we still feel a little stuck in that, but we're also very uncertain about what is next and what more of this different approach looks like, where we're honoring our emotions. Okay, and because we're feeling in this in-between space, still not fully free from the past, still don't know what's next, we're feeling very nervous and very anxious here, and frustrated about our situation, and may act out suddenly and unexpectedly in weird ways or unhelpful ways here because of that situation. Okay, and while we're feeling very frustrated and anxious here, there are some new ideas that are starting to come to us about what's next and about what we might want to do, and new mindsets, but we still don't have that clarity. It's still not complete clarity. It's still not full clarity, even though we are getting somewhere, especially in the subconscious, leaving us a little confused. Okay, that's going to lead me now, I think, to the last alignment that I'm going to mention here. And I think the last alignment I'm going to mention is going to be the fact that the North Node is now making a conjunction to Chiron here in the sign of Aries, which is pretty significant for that to happen. The North Node doesn't conjunct Chiron that often. Okay, I'm not quite sure how long it takes, but the North Node has like an 18-year span around the zodiac, so it's been a while. Maybe not exactly 18 years, but it's been definitely probably over 10. Okay, so this is a bit of an interesting alignment, very significant. What is this about? Well, I'll start neutrally here. The North Node is a lot about our purpose and at this time in our lives and what we need to cultivate more of here. And Chiron is a lot about healing difficulties from the past, you know, that have been hard, that are still weighing on us here. Not only is it about healing things, it could be about healing, right, from our past actions. It's an Aries, past actions that didn't work out in the way that we might like. Another word I might use with Chiron is grieving, you know, grieving the past life that we lost, or the old identity. You know, Aries is a lot about our identity as a whole, the old identity that we're leaving behind, you know, that was strict and was all those things. You know, there could be a lot of grief and healing here that hasn't fully happened yet, or that is still needed here, that I think may be stopping some of the answers from coming, or from us comprehending, you know, what the next steps are, and from seeing the situation here clearly at this time. Okay, that can be going on and can make us also feel a bit stuck here with the Chiron influence as well. So I think that this is the last thing I really want to mention here. We are breaking free from being old habits and patterns, too strict, too rigid, etc., and becoming more open to doing things in a different way, more authentic, more in tune with our emotions and all of that. But even though that's good and that's going on, we are doing it, we are becoming more open, we're still uncertain on both fronts. We're still uncertain on if we fully broken free from everything we need to be broken free from that's too strict and rigid, and we still don't have the answers that we want about the future and about what's next, even though they are percolating in the subconscious here in helpful ways. And because we're in this we're in between space, we're feeling impatient and restless and anxious and nervous and stuck, and may want to act out in unexpected ways here that may not be the most helpful here at this time that's going on, making us feel still hurt and uncertain about what to do next. And the reason why I think we're stuck, you know, and not fully comprehending the answers about what to do next is because I think that we need some time here to heal from the past and to grieve, you know, the life that we lost, or the behaviors from the past that weren't helpful for us, and to release and to let those things go. Because I think once we begin to heal and to grieve from that, then it'll be easier for us to proceed here in a better way. Okay. And I think that's it. I think that's the advice. I don't know if that read as advice, but that's the advice here, is that some healing, not complete healing, but I think some healing and grieving of the life that we lost and of the things that didn't work out is needed before proceeding to break free from more things, or to figure out what's next here at this time that's going on. Okay. Because on the other side of that will be more answers. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. That actually felt like a more simple interpretation than I thought it would be. But I guess that's where we are. Okay. So maybe now I'll repeat that one last time before I see if I have any other thoughts to share, just to collect myself. This new moon in Aquarius, we are feeling free from old habits and patterns to a certain extent in which we're being too stiff, too rigid, and too hard on ourselves. And we're feeling more open to a different way of life that is more in tune with our emotions and passionate and heart-based and authentic, which is wonderful. But even though that's the case, we're still a little torn and stuck. And we're still a little torn and stuck because somewhere deep down, we still feel like maybe we haven't fully broken free from everything of the past that we want to. And because we're still not sure exactly what is next if we were to do more of this different approach to life that was more heart-spaced, and are still a little confused and uncertain and not super clear and fine on what that is. And because we're in this weird in-between space, we're feeling stuck and anxious and nervous and upset and maybe want to act out in unexpected, volatile ways, which could be a bit of a challenge here. That's going on, making us feel just stuck and hurt. And the reason, some of the reason why I think we're feeling stuck and not getting the answers that we need is because we're haven't fully grieved and some of the things that happened from the past and healed and let those go that we need to focus on first. Right? And that's it. Any other thoughts that I want to add now? I mean, I think that, right? I think maybe just, nothing super strong is coming to me right now, I have to say, but I think that just some other points that I might add is that what we're trying to do right now, I think, and which is going to become more and more into the picture, especially now that all planets are direct, is formulate a different way of doing life, okay? And a different way of doing life that, sure, still has structure, still has discipline, still gets things done, but that honors our emotions way more and our passions way more and our enjoyment way more and our pleasure way more. We're trying to formulate that and what that life looks like if we were to be more involved. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's stop there. That's a big thing of what we're trying to do now. That's going to become more of the picture. Okay? Because I think that over the course of the past few weeks, maybe I'll do that, since the last new moon in Capricorn a month ago, we have been doing things in a little bit of a different way that's been more heart-based, but we've still been teetering on the edge. We've still been teetering between somewhat discipline, somewhat heart-based, somewhat work and responsibility, somewhat passion and enjoyment. And we're trying to formulate now what life looks like if we were to more fully do that, more fully have this experience in which we honored our emotions more and what we were feeling and what brings us more pleasure. If we were to kind of go more into that and really accept that wholeheartedly. And because we've only been doing a little bit of each or teetering here. And I think we need to do a lot more. Okay. Especially with the new moon being in Aquarius, a fixed sign, and it is square Uranus and Taurus, a fixed sign. They like to get more fixed in things. So I don't know how clear that was before, but that's a big thing going on here. We're trying to become more fixed, maybe to use that as a term, or more committed to a different way of life where we are honoring our emotions more and marrying that more with our responsibility here, instead of doing it a little bit here maybe, instead of tiptoeing around it or being scared to do it. Okay. Another thing that I want to say about that as well is, again, I do feel very strongly like we are going to figure that out to a significant degree in the next few months, especially around May is super important, and now with all planets direct. Okay. But sometimes on the way to getting the answers and getting the clarity that you need, sometimes it's not a straight line, so to speak, to getting answers and clarity that you need. Sometimes you have to circle around to things from the past in order to kind of get you to where you need to go here. And I think that's what I'm feeling about the healing and the grieving. Is that We want to formulate new approaches here to life and what's different, and do that, commit more to that instead of just mouse around it. Okay. But in order for us to get there, we kind of have to circle backwards to clear some of the karma, if you will, from the past, or some of the pain from the past, in order to move forward. And it might feel like we're going backwards. Maybe that's a thought. It might feel like we're going backwards to have to deal with some of this stuff and heal a little bit from some of these things from the past here, but it's actually not going backwards at all. It's moving forward. That's the way forward, or the quickest way forward here in the way that we need. Not only do I want to say that, we kind of need to go backwards to kind of heal some of this stuff in order to go forward here, but I also want to note as well that oh, what was the thought? I also wanted to note as well that why do we need to do this? Why might some healing help and stuff? Well, some healing might help because in order to get new ideas, right? That's a lot of what we're trying to do. We need to make space, a space to receive that. And for that to come into the picture here in the way that it is that we really need. And if our soul, our spirit, our emotions are so bogged down with pain from the past or negative stories from the past about things that happened, then it gets really hard to bring more new things into the equation. So a big reason why the healing is needed is so that we can release some baggage here, so that there's space for new ideas to come, and for us to receive those things, here that's going on. Especially Venus kind of still in the square of the nodes. Okay, another thing that maybe I want to say too is that when I say now that we do need to heal and grieve some things from the past and let some of that baggage go to make space for these new ideas, because that's going to make them easier to come in to our lives, I don't mean right now we have to heal everything from the past that's going on. Okay, I don't believe that now we need to heal and grieve everything from the past, because even though the North Node is conjunct Chiron at this time, Aquarius is not really a sign about healing. That's more Pisces, which is next lunar month. We're going to get the new moon there. Okay. And not only that, but we still have the the North Node to enter Pisces, which isn't too far from now, another year away, again, which is about emotional healing and releasing the past here. So I think another thought that I want to say here is not only do we need to heal and grieve some things from the past and kind of let that go, but it doesn't have to be everything. Here, it just needs to be a little bit, just clear a little bit of room out, because there's still, healing's a lifelong journey, and there's still more moments when healing will become more of a thing in the astrology than maybe it is right now. That's not too far off here, that's coming as well. So don't pressure yourself to heal everything. It's just a little bit to make space for that. Another thought here too that maybe I want to share with you is that Chiron can also indicate difficulties in Aries is about action and doing things in a new way. So not only may we need to heal some old things here from the past, but I think there's also perhaps a need as well at this new moon and with this alignment to maybe realize that everything doesn't have to feel comfortable and feel good in order for us to do things in a new and different way here as well. That's going on, and that we can do things differently, even if it doesn't always feel the best or what we're used to. I think there's also something like that we're learning here as well. But I think that does come hand in hand with the healing. Once we heal and grieve, that maybe we didn't have the right perspective in the past, or things didn't work out in the way in the past, or we were too harsh on ourselves in the past. Once we grieve and let that go, I think we're naturally going to become more open to doing things in a different way, even if it doesn't feel comfortable. So I think they're both themes, but I think they're maybe tied up here in one that's going on, because having such a black and white approach to life here of you know, I can only do this or I can only do that, to me does a lot of times come from trauma from the past. When life is better here or happier, there's not this black and white. It's like, okay, I'll do a little bit here, and if it doesn't work, who cares? You know, I'll try it. And if it doesn't work and doesn't feel comfortable, it's fine. I'll try something else, you know? So I think that they're all kind of related here to the healing. Once we heal and grieve a little bit from the past, it's then going to make it easier for us to figure out what to do next here and to do things, even if it doesn't feel right, even if it doesn't feel comfortable, because it's not gonna be so a traumatic, painful deal. It's just gonna be like a thing that we're trying and doing and experimenting with here that's happening. So I think I just thought that I would note that. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring up your inside degrees and look through those. Now, the inside degrees weren't written by me. They were written by someone else named Elias Lonsdale, who channeled the meanings of each of the degrees from spirit. But I like to look at those because I think that they're just very interesting and relevant and insightful. Okay. So we're going to look at that. Did I say, sorry, my mind's elsewhere today. I've been sick this past week with the flu, but I'm finally feeling a little better now. But by Elias Lonsdale. We're going to look into it. I've been trying to read less of these to save time in my videos, but I actually do really like all of these here for this new moon. So maybe we'll just take a brief look at all of them. Okay, the new moon's at 20 degrees, but before, of, and after can be relevant. Okay, let's look at 19 degrees Aquarius. It says, the indomitable spirit of one who has been at this forever and will still be on collective karmic alert to the very end. Purpose usually takes precedence. Whatever is changing, whatever is staying the same, are two forces you track with and report back to cosmic center upon. Okay. What stands out to me is this sentence: whatever is changing, whatever is staying the same, are two forces you track with and report back to cosmic center. And if you listen to this interpretation earlier in the video, that was one of the things I said, where we're still feeling maybe a little stuck in old habits. Okay, too strict, rigid, and all of that, but also still don't know what's next, and we're trying to figure that out, what more this different approach is. And that, to me, that sentence says that those are the two forces. The two forces of like, am I still stuck in old habits, and what are the new ones, and what more is this going to look like? We're kind of stuck in between there and are hyper alert to like, well, what is it? Am I stuck right there? Am I stuck to there? What's this new thing? I think that's what I feel. Tracking, hyper alert. We're hyper alert to these different things and what's going on. Okay. It says you are being driven to the utmost to observe and witness objectively and dispassionately all the decisive and epical shifts and pressures in the collective mix. Okay. Again, there's this side of like observe and witness. So I'm just getting the sense we are hyper alert to what are we stuck in still, and what is next, and what is that here that's going on. Okay. And sometimes it's good. I mean, sometimes it's good to be hyper alert so that you can know where you stand with things, and sometimes it can drive you nuts, and sometimes it can do both. And I think that's probably what we're getting, is like a little bit of both at the same time. It says eyes wide open in the dark, attention riveted to trends and turning points, and yielded up to a long ago agreed to code of recording and evaluating all the relevant data so that the cosmic forces can determine what is happening way down here and can fine tune their ways to evolve the situation optimally. So another thing that sentence indicates to me, I liked it. It's evaluating all the relevant data so the cosmic forces can determine what is happening. And that, to me, I get a sense of like observing. And I think that maybe that is also a piece of advice. You know, the advice I gave you from the astrology is maybe there's some more healing that needs to happen before we get the answers that we need. But while we're healing and working through that stuff, maybe part of the advice is to just observe. There's no need to do right now. there's no need to do more breaking free of things or to do a lot more new things. Maybe all that's needed right now is for us to be present and to just observe without emotion attached to it what is still the old way and what might be the new way and whatever might arise from our subconscious here, instead of taking action quite yet. Just observe. Okay, so I really liked that. Okay, another, maybe now let's read on, see what Aquarius 20 has to say. Aquarius 20 says, inward intention counts for everything. Outward results do not matter. You are dropped into remote places to be a subtle glue, a connecting intelligence just along the inside. I do get a similar vibe as what we were just talking about, as I should, because to me, the degrees are progression. One comes after another for a reason. But I also like this degree because it says inward intention counts for everything. Outward results do not matter. It confirms this idea that there's not a need to do. We don't need to do more breaking free from things at this time. We don't need to do more new different things at this time. That maybe all that we need at this new moon in Aquarius is just to observe and to just be present, to just be present here that's going on, and to trust that that is enough, and that if our inward intention to eventually break free is in the right place, that will get us to where we eventually need to go. Okay, so that's the other thought here. Need some healing from the past, and to not do anything crazy, and to just observe and witness and just trust and have faith it's going to be okay, and have the right intention, because that will get you where you need to go. And it says here, upon the outside, nothing happens. A tenuous sensibility stays tuned to subtle frequencies with celestial dispassion. You are remarkably absent from the daily rough and tumble of what seems to go on around you. Inexplicably and improbably, you indwell an otherness and alienness that consciously has no idea what it is doing. Okay. So I think another thing of just observe and witness and just be, and that's all that's needed right now. Okay. It then goes on and it says, but when you are around other people, find that there are blessings, breakthroughs, protections, and odd phenomena adding up to the impression that one is touched by something. So what that means to me is that when we are just present and not forcing things here and just open to what may come, good things will eventually happen here. Good things will happen. I even like the last sentence here. It says, being an empty, open vessel for the cosmic. I like that word because that was one of the things I talked about. There's a need to empty out, release the past, and heal a little bit from the past to make space for different to come. And the symbolism of Aquarius, right? And this is for the degree of Aquarius, is the water bearer, which is a jug, a vessel to carry water or insight or things like that. So I like that too. There's a need to heal from old things to become an empty vessel to receive new stuff. And while you're healing, you don't have to do anything except just be present, in the moment, and observe, what's going on, and allow feelings and things to occur, because if you can do that, good things will occur, and blessings, right? That's what it said, will start to eventually come together. And then let's read the last degree. It says, the transcendent and the fragrant particulars of life feed into each other and complete each other if you are radiantly responsive to their comminglings. In the dance of time, there comes a fresh cycle where the high feminine spirit comes into her own. She is queen of the heavens, yet she belongs to the earth. And as she comes to herself, she brings the worlds together, repolarizes and articulates the power of love. She is the caller inaugurating the future, yet early on she stumbles and falls, for what she is carrying is immense and is too much for her personally. So what I think I'm getting as I read more of this inside degree is that if we're just still, heal these. Sometimes healing requires stillness. Healing doesn't require doing a lot of things. Maybe I'm saying, some healing's needed, and you're like, oh, well, what do I do to heal? And it's like, well, you don't do anything. Sometimes when you heal, you don't do anything except just sit and be still and honor the emotions, and I think that what I'm getting is from that stillness, that what will happen here is that you will start to get some insights and some blessings about what's next, even if it feels overwhelming at first, right? Early on, she stumbles and falls, Let's read on. It says, she must discover how to find a true form to harness discipline and distribute what she knows and who she is. So she gets her bearings and embraces multidimensional selfhood, she shall indeed find that destiny situates her right where she needs to be. Okay. Okay. And her complete liberation from the misunderstandings and fragmentations of the days when she could just not get out of the way with sufficient grace and authentic conviction. So I think that's what I'm going to say there. We're trying to get into a different experience of life at this time, in which we are honoring more of our emotions and our heart and our passions when it comes to the work that we do and all of that here. But we're still not feeling where we want to be yet with that, and we're hyper aware to where we're still stuck and where we don't know what needs to happen next and all of that, which can be a frustrating place to be. But all you need to do while you're in this place is not act, not do anything, but to just observe what's going on within yourself, within the situation, and to be present and to wait and to heal and to empty out some things from the past so that you can make space, to be open, a vessel to make space for what's to come. And if you can do that, good things are going to happen and answers are going to come, in the next few days and weeks here, even if they feel overwhelming at first. Okay. So I think that's it. Okay. And that, I'm going to pull your card next, but that really stands out to me as like a good point, because I was thinking about that earlier as I was going through the aspects of like, how does one heal exactly? Like, what does that look like here? And I think that the inside degrees give me that answer, is like what healing looks like is being patient with yourself, and observing yourself and what's going on, maybe even detaching from some of the emotional frustration here that's been happening here with a new awareness, that things are different now. And sometimes that makes healing hard, because I think we are so conditioned, society by Pluto and Capricorn, to like have to prove and do things. And, sometimes healing requires us not to do things. So that may be hard, but I think can be useful. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a look at your card. Let's do that. Okay. We've got the Page of Swords reversed here, and at the bottom of the deck we've got the Two of Cups upright. Swords to me are about clarity, information, ideas. Pages to me can indicate different ideas, new ideas, and it's reversed, indicating to me that we're still not getting maybe some of that clarity or ideas that it is that we might like, or if we are getting ideas and clarity, they're half-baked. They're just half-baked. They're not where they want to be. Sometimes pages can be a little immature, can maybe want to act on these ideas too soon before they're really ready, since they're usually teenagers or younger here as well. So I can see some of that, not getting ideas, or getting ideas but they're half-baked and wanting to act on them too soon. And I think part of the advice, the Two of Cups is at the bottom of the deck. Twos to me are still about balance here, or patience, not rushing into anything headfirst yet, especially at the end of the astrological year. It's also as well, a cup card about our emotions here, and working through some of those might be needed. It's also a card too about relationships, and this is actually a very positive card for relationships here, since it's the Two of Cups upright. So another piece of advice is not only like don't rush into anything here, and calm down if you're not getting the advice, and slow down too, and maybe honor more of your emotions. But it's very possible that relationships could be helpful for some of you all to work through some of this stuff, this lack of clarity that you have. And maybe relationships could be helpful, because maybe a relation, like just going out and being with people, can help you heal emotionally or just feel better. Or maybe conversations, maybe some of you, if you're struggling with something, maybe a conversation with someone that you trust may also help you to get some of the answers here that it is that you need. So I'm also getting a sense for some of you as well, being with people and having good times or getting their advice may also help you to really process and work through some things that you need. Okay, and I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to say for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that you have a good new moon, the best that you can, and I'll talk to you on the next video.